What if I told you that the greatest tragedy in life is not failure, it's wasted potential? Every day I meet people who say they want success, they want impact, they want to change the world. But when you look at how they spend their time, scrolling endlessly, complaining endlessly, waiting endlessly, you realize something painful. They are not failing. They are slowly wasting their lives. The truth is brutal. Time doesn't wait for you. Opportunities don't knock forever. And the world does not reward people who simply wish for success. It rewards people who build it. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone with less talent than you, less money than you, and fewer opportunities than you is winning. Why? Because they decided something most people never decide. They decided that their life will not be wasted. And today I want to talk to you about that decision. When I was young, people thought I was strange. I spent countless nights sitting in front of a computer terminal when most teenagers were out doing what teenagers normally do. I wasn't chasing popularity. I wasn't chasing comfort. I was chasing possibility. At the time, nobody knew what personal computers would become. In fact, many people believed computers would always remain giant machines locked inside universities and research labs. But I saw something different. I saw a future, and that future demanded something from me: focus. The truth is, success rarely begins with confidence, it begins with curiosity, and then it demands discipline. What I've learned over the decades through building companies, making mistakes, losing opportunities, and learning from some of the smartest people on earth is this: most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. Most people fail because they waste the most valuable resource they have: time. Every minute you spend distracted, every hour you spend avoiding difficult work, every year you spend waiting for motivation is a piece of your life you will never get back. So today, I want to share something with you that might sound uncomfortable, but it might also be the wake-up call your life needs. Let me start with something that might surprise you. Success is not built on brilliance. It's built on how you use your time. When people look at successful individuals, whether it's entrepreneurs, scientists, or innovators, they often assume those people are simply smarter. But after working with thousands of brilliant minds over the years, I have discovered something interesting. Intelligence helps, but discipline changes everything. When Paul Allen and I started building what eventually became Microsoft, we didn't have a grand master plan. We didn't have massive resources. What we had was obsession. We were obsessed with learning, obsessed with solving problems, obsessed with building something that could change how people interacted with technology. While many people were waiting for perfect opportunities, we were creating imperfect solutions and improving them every day. And that's where the first big lesson comes in. Winners move before they feel ready. Most people waste years preparing to start something. They say things like, "I'll begin when I'm more confident. I'll begin when I know everything. I'll begin when the timing is perfect." But here's the truth: perfect timing is an illusion. The world belongs to people who start before they feel ready. When we built the first software for early personal computers, we didn't know exactly what the future would look like, but we knew something simple. Computers were going to become powerful tools, and someone had to build the software that made them useful. So we started, not perfectly, but consistently. Now let me ask you something important. How many ideas have you had in your life that never became real? How many dreams did you delay? How many opportunities did you postpone because you didn't feel ready? Every time you delay action, something dangerous happens. Your brain becomes comfortable with inaction. And comfort is one of the most dangerous forces in human life. Comfort convinces you that tomorrow will always exist. Comfort tells you there is always more time. But the truth is brutally simple. You don't know how much time you have. None of us do. And that realization should not scare you. It should ignite you. Because when you understand that time is limited, every day becomes more valuable. Every hour becomes more meaningful. Every moment becomes a chance to build something extraordinary. Let me share another lesson I learned early in my career. Focus is a superpower. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Your phone is constantly demanding attention. Social media is engineered to capture your time. Entertainment is infinite. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The people who change the world are often the people who are willing to disconnect from distractions longer than everyone else. When we were building software in the early days, there were nights when I would become so focused that I lost track of time completely. Hours passed, sometimes entire nights, not because someone forced me to work, but because the problem was fascinating. And fascination creates deep focus. This is something most people misunderstand. Success is not only about working harder, it's about working deeper. Deep work is when your mind becomes fully engaged with a problem. No notifications, no interruptions, just your brain pushing its limits. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's where innovation is born. And unfortunately, that's exactly what most people never experience, because they are constantly distracted. Every notification steals a piece of your attention. Every interruption weakens your concentration. And over time, distraction becomes a habit that slowly destroys your ability to create meaningful work. So if you truly want to stop wasting your life, you must learn something incredibly powerful. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Now let's talk about something even more important: failure. One of the biggest reasons people waste their lives is because they are afraid to fail. They wait for certainty. They wait for guarantees. But the world does not offer guarantees. When we built early software products, many of them didn't succeed the way we expected. Some ideas were wrong, some projects failed, but every failure gave us information. And information is fuel for progress. In fact, one of the most powerful mindsets you can adopt is this: failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the path to success. If you are not failing occasionally, you are probably not pushing yourself hard enough. You are probably playing too safe. And safe lives rarely create extraordinary outcomes. So stop asking yourself, what if I fail? Start asking, what will I learn? Because learning compounds over time. Every lesson makes you stronger. Every mistake makes you smarter. And eventually, those lessons become the foundation of something incredible. But there's one more truth we must talk about, and it might be the most important one. Your future will not be built by motivation. It will be built by habits. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. But habits create consistency, and consistency creates results. If you spend just 2 hours every day learning something valuable, if you spend just 2 hours every day building something meaningful, if you spend just 2 hours every day improving your skills, in 5 years, you will become someone completely different. Not because of one massive breakthrough, but because of thousands of small improvements. And that's the secret most people overlook. Greatness is rarely dramatic. Greatness is daily discipline repeated for years. Let's talk about something most people avoid thinking about: the future. Not the comfortable future you imagine when everything goes perfectly, but the real future, the one shaped by the choices you make today. When I look at the world today, I see incredible opportunity. Technology is advancing faster than any time in human history. Artificial intelligence, biotechnology, clean energy, space exploration, these are not distant dreams. They are realities being built right now. But here's the uncomfortable question: when the future is written, will your name be part of it? Or will you simply watch others build it? Because the truth is, the future does not belong to spectators. It belongs to builders. The builders are the people who wake up early when everyone else sleeps. The builders are the people who keep learning long after school ends. The builders are the people who continue working even when progress feels slow. And that brings us to a critical concept: persistence. Success is rarely fast. In fact, most meaningful achievements take far longer than people expect. Building a company takes years. Developing expertise takes decades. Changing the world takes lifetimes of dedication. And that's exactly why most people quit too early. They start something, they face obstacles, they experience frustration, and they assume something is wrong. But frustration is not a signal to quit. It's a signal that you are growing. When you challenge yourself, your brain struggles. Your skills feel inadequate. Your progress feels slow. But that struggle is the process of transformation. Think about learning any difficult skill: programming, mathematics, engineering, writing. At the beginning, everything feels confusing. But if you persist long enough, something amazing happens. The impossible becomes understandable. The difficult becomes manageable. And eventually, the complex becomes intuitive. That transformation is what separates amateurs from experts. Experts are not people who avoided difficulty. They are people who stayed long enough to master it. Now let's talk about something deeply personal. Regret. One day, maybe decades from now, you will look back at your life. You will remember the opportunities you took. But more importantly, you will remember the opportunities you didn't take, the ideas you never tried, the risks you never accepted, the dreams you never pursued. And regret has a unique pain because it cannot be corrected. You cannot go back in time and reclaim wasted years. You cannot relive opportunities that passed you by. But you can make one powerful decision today. You can decide that from this moment forward, your life will not be wasted. That decision changes everything. It changes how you spend your mornings. It changes how you spend your evenings. It changes how you spend your energy. Because once you understand the value of your time, you begin protecting it fiercely. You stop arguing with people who drain your energy. You stop wasting hours on meaningless distractions. You stop waiting for motivation. Instead, you begin building, learning, improving, day by day, and eventually something remarkable happens. Momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. When you work consistently, progress compounds, skills improve, confidence grows, opportunities appear, and suddenly the life you once imagined begins to feel possible. But remember something important. Success is not only about achievement, it's also about impact. One of the greatest privileges in my life has been the opportunity to use resources to solve global problems through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, improving healthcare, fighting diseases, supporting education, helping millions of people live better lives. And this is a lesson I want every ambitious person to understand. The ultimate purpose of success is not status, it's service. The world's biggest problems need intelligent, disciplined, determined people. People who are willing to dedicate their lives to solving meaningful challenges. So as you pursue success, ask yourself something deeper. Not just how can I succeed, but also how can I contribute? Because when your ambition connects with purpose, your work becomes unstoppable. And that is when your life truly becomes extraordinary. So if you remember only one thing from this speech, remember this. Your life is not defined by your starting point. It is defined by your daily decisions. Every day you choose between distraction and focus, comfort and discipline, excuses and action. And those choices repeated over years determine the story of your life. So make a decision today. Stop waiting your life. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop doubting your ability to build something meaningful. Instead, start learning, start building, start improving. Because the future is not created by people who wait. It is created by people who decide that their time matters. And when you truly understand that, your life will never be the same again.
Let me leave you with a truth that many people only realize when it is already too late. Life moves quietly, but incredibly fast. When you are young, you think you have unlimited time. You believe there will always be another opportunity, another year, another chance to begin. You tell yourself, I'll start next month. Then next month becomes next year, and next year becomes a decade. Before you know it, the most valuable years of your life have already slipped away. I've met brilliant people, people with intelligence, creativity, and potential far beyond anything I had at their age. But they are stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they never developed the most powerful skill in life: urgency. Urgency is the understanding that your time is limited and therefore every moment matters. When I was building early software, I didn't think about balance the way many people talk about it today. I wasn't thinking about convenience or comfort. I was thinking about something else entirely. I was thinking about impact. The early days of personal computing were a rare moment in history. Technology was changing rapidly, and we had an opportunity to help shape how billions of people would interact with computers. That realization created a sense of urgency inside me that was impossible to ignore. When you feel that kind of urgency, something extraordinary happens. You stop procrastinating, you stop making excuses, you stop negotiating with your own potential, you start moving. Most people underestimate how powerful urgency can be. It transforms ordinary people into relentless creators. It turns ideas into action and dreams into reality. But here is the problem. Modern life has removed urgency from most people's lives. Comfortable technology entertains us. Convenience removes effort. Endless distractions keep us busy but not productive. And slowly, without even realizing it, people fall into a dangerous trap. They become passive participants in their own lives. They watch others build companies, invent technologies, write books, create movements, while they sit on the sidelines thinking, one day I'll do something great. But greatness does not happen on one day. Greatness happens on day one. Day one is when you decide to begin. Let me tell you something important about success that people rarely discuss. Success is not only built on intelligence, effort, or opportunity, it is built on energy. The people who create extraordinary things are usually the people who create extraordinary energy. They wake up excited about solving problems. They pursue knowledge with relentless curiosity. They see challenges not as obstacles, but as puzzles waiting to be solved. And energy does not come from motivation videos or inspirational quotes. Energy comes from purpose. When you are working towards something meaningful, your mind becomes sharper. Your focus becomes stronger. Your persistence becomes unstoppable. You don't need someone to push you. Your purpose pulls you forward. When we were building software, in the early days, I would sometimes work for incredibly long stretches of time because the work itself was fascinating. Every new problem was like opening a door into an unexplored world. That sense of discovery is something every ambitious person should experience, because when you discover the joy of solving meaningful problems, work stops feeling like a burden. It becomes a mission. But let me be honest with you about something. The path toward meaningful work is not easy. In fact, it is often uncomfortable. You will face moments of doubt. You will experience criticism. You will encounter people who tell you that your ideas are unrealistic or impossible. Every innovator in history has faced that moment. Think about it. When personal computers were first imagined, many experts believed they were unnecessary. They thought computers would always belong to large corporations and government laboratories, but a few people believed something different. They believed computers could become personal tools that empowered individuals. That belief eventually helped shape the world we live in today. And this pattern repeats throughout history. The people who move the world forward are often the people who are willing to believe in possibilities that others cannot yet see. That kind of belief requires courage. It requires the willingness to pursue ideas that may seem uncertain. And most importantly, it requires the willingness to continue even when progress is slow. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine two versions of yourself. The first version lives a comfortable life. They avoid risk. They follow the safest path, and they rarely challenge themselves beyond what is expected. Years pass, life moves forward, and eventually, this version of you reaches the later chapters of life, wondering what might have been possible if they had tried harder. The second version of you chooses a different path. This version is curious, disciplined, and courageous. They pursue learning aggressively. They chase difficult problems. They attempt things that others believe are unrealistic. They fail sometimes, but they learn every time. And over the years, that growth transforms them into someone capable of building extraordinary things. Now, here is the most powerful truth of all. Both of those futures are possible, and the difference between them is not luck. The difference is the decisions you make today. Every day, you wake up with the ability to shape your future. Every day, you choose how to use your attention. Every day, you decide whether you will grow or remain the same. This is why I often tell young people something that might sound surprising. The most powerful investment you can ever make is not in stocks, companies, or technology. It is in your own mind. Your ability to learn is the greatest asset you will ever possess. The world is changing at a speed that previous generations could never have imagined. New industry are emerging, new technologies are transforming entire economies, and new opportunities are appearing constantly. But those opportunities are appearing constantly, but those opportunities belong to people who are prepared to understand them. People who read, people who study, people who remain curious long after formal education ends. I've always believed that learning should never stop. Even after decades of working in technology, I continue reading books, exploring new ideas, and trying to understand how the world is evolving, because knowledge compounds. The more you learn, the more connections your mind can make, and those connections are where innovation happens. Now let's talk about something even deeper: legacy. At some point in your life, success will stop being only about achievement. It will start becoming about contribution. You will begin asking yourself questions like, what difference did I make? Who did I help? What problems did I solve? One of the greatest privileges of my life has been the opportunity to focus on global challenges through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, working to fight diseases, improve healthcare, and support education around the world has shown me something incredibly important. The world has enormous problems, but it also has enormous potential, and the future will depend on people who are willing to dedicate their intelligence and creativity to solving those problems. That could be you, but only if you decide to use your life intentionally. Only if you refuse to settle for distraction and comfort. Only if you commit yourself to learning, building, and contributing. Because the world does not change because of people who wait. It changes because of people who wait. So as we come to the end of this message, I want you to think about something deeply personal. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of impact do you want to become? To create? What kind of story do you want your life to tell? The answers to those questions are not written by fate. They are written by your daily actions. Your habits today are quietly shaping your future. Your choices today are building the person you will become. And that is why this moment matters, because right now you have a decision to make. You can continue living the way you always have, waiting, delaying, drifting through your days, or you can decide that from this moment forward, your life will have purpose, urgency, and direction. You can decide that your time will no longer be wasted. You can decide that your potential will no longer remain dormant. You can decide that your life will become a story of growth, courage, and contribution. And if you make that decision, truly make it, something powerful will begin to happen. Your focus will sharpen, your discipline will grow, your opportunities will expand. And one day when you look back at your life, you will not see wasted years. You will see a journey of learning, building, and impact. So start today, not tomorrow, not next month, today. Because the most powerful moment in your life is not the past. It is not even the future. The most powerful moment in your life is the decision you make right now.